What's up, Pastor? I'm back at you. Young nigga, listen to me. Pastor, I'm going to go to Genesis chapter 2, verse 16 and 17. Young nigga, don't get nervous. The Bible is formulated and constructed how your rap music is. Minus the content. The content is retarded, motherfucker. It's under attack, and it should be. But just watch the metaphor and allegorical speech. This gonna sound like a rap song by Moneybags, minus the instrumental, nigga. Pastor, listen up. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 16 and 17, that's when God had gave the instructions, you may eat freely of every tree of the garden, except the tree that is called the tree of knowledge of good and evil, also in the midst of the garden. Because in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die. Y'all know the story. That's when Eve took her hot ass over there, and the serpent tricked her. And she took of the forbidden fruit of that tree, and we became fucked up. But watch this, Pastor. I know you had to have asked yourself this question. Why was the tree called the direct opposite? Why was the tree called the tree of knowledge of good, and the direct opposite of good is evil? Just like the direct opposite of right is left. Do you follow me? See, the naming of the tree, good and evil, represents the movement of the serpent. Watch this, Pastor. You're going to like this one. I'm going to say it again. The direct opposite of good is evil. The direct opposite of right is left. Now, how does a serpent move? A serpent moves from left to right, from right to left. The tree was called the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The naming of the tree represents the movement of the serpent. Now, what that got to do with the action in my brain? Let me explain to you, Pastor. And follow me closely. I don't give a fuck what you consider yourself, a Christian, a man and a woman of God. Your grandmama, your mama, your aunt, your brother, it makes no difference. All human beings throughout the course of the day have fucked up thoughts. They ain't gonna share them with nobody. They ain't gonna tell you that shit. Do you follow what I'm saying? Every human being has fucked up, distorted thoughts throughout the course of the day. Some have more than others. But my point is this. The next time you have a fucked up thought, let me show you what's going on in your brain. Let's say you drive, or you going to work, or you in the break room, or you just sitting around the house, and a fucked up thought appears. Call me. I'm gonna tell you what. Let me show you how this shit gonna go down. When you call me, you're gonna say, man, I just had a fucked up thought. And I'm gonna say, well, when did you have it, nigga? And you say some shit like, man, I just told you when I was sitting in the living room. And I say, no, nigga. What thought did this fucked up thought follow? What thought did you have previous to that? When did this thought come into your psyche? You know what, Pastor? You're never going to be able to tell me. Young nigga, you're never going to be able to tell me. The only thing you can share with me is when you become conscious of this thought. You never know when it enters, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if you knew when this thought would enter, you could block it. The only thing you know is when you're conscious of it. See, people love to quote scripture and say God is a God of order. But when they read that particular passage, they forget about that. They abandon that. God is a God of order. Not only did he give you the name of the tree, but he gave you the order of procession, how the rapist, murderous mindset enters into your motherfucking psyche. See, what this rapist, murderous mindset does, better known as a serpent, what it does is it comes into your psyche, you ready, as a good thought. That's why the tree was called the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It'll enter in as a good thought. Once you turn to, because it's a good thought, it's harmless. So once you turn, not that you physically turn, but you turn to this image in your mind, once you turn to it and give it your attention, that bitch transform to the evil thought. Oh, watch it, Pastor. It'll transform to the evil thought, leaving you fucked up like, damn, how did this get here? What type of person am I? Not knowing. See, you're ignorant to it. You don't know how it works. You don't know how it comes at you. It'll come in as a good thought, and then it'll transform to the evil thought once you turn to it. That's when you become conscious of it. And for all biblical people, Bible thumpers, who say, well, where's that in scripture? Go back and read how it came to Eve. It came to Eve quoting what God had just said. That's why the serpent moves like it does. The movement of the serpent represents his conversation. You don't know how this thing comes at you. Do you follow what I'm saying? I'm going to say it again. The movement of the serpent represents his conversation. I'm not here saving no motherfucking souls, nigga. I'm making you aware. That's the first spiritual principle, is to be aware of how this motherfucker move in your psyche, in your spirit, in your soul. Introduce this to the high school, the teenager, the junior high. Introduce this to a young African. Give him a chance. Let him know how this motherfucker comes in, how it moves. Motherfucker talking about they out here saving souls. Well, we knocking, motherfuckers knocking on your door talking about, we just like to talk to you, brother, from the Latter-day Saints. This is Jesse, this is Fred. Man, get the fuck out my porch, nigga. Introduce to the African how this motherfucker enters in. This shit, just like they say God is a God of order, he'll break it down step by step by step how this motherfucking thing comes at you.